What's going on, Sunbelt fans? My name is Dominic Crusetto, and I want to give another shout out to Tech Show for the awesome intro music. He really knocked it out of the park on that, and I love hearing that every time. Voiceover work was phenomenal on that one. So this is going to be the Week 12 preview, and I was out on a family vacation that took me away from the chance to podcast here over the last week or so. So let's just go over my record in that time. Combining the last 2 weeks is a pretty terrible 4-11 overall. So that really just is a terrible record. I've taken some chances on some games, and then some games have gone opposite of what they should have, which put me there. But overall for the season, still looking at a 58-38 overall record. It was a hot start. It was really good in those first 2 weeks with the out-of-conference slates, and then some conference games have really tripped me up. So those last 2 weeks have been trash, but hopefully we can get back on track here and give you some better picks, kind of combined a little bit of what's happened the last 2 weeks into a short review before we get into this Week 12 picks. So, we had the App State at Coastal Carolina game. Great game probably to watch on TV, great game to be at with the atmosphere that they had there. Packed house, the stadium was overflowing, and it was pretty easy to see because it was very difficult to get to your seat to start that one out. But, yeah, regardless, Coastal takes the East and locks that up with what happened that night and the very next week as well. So Coastal's looking pretty good. They're on their way to the conference title game for sure, whether they host or not. Again, still up in the air, and they've obviously got McCall out with an injury as well. So hopefully he's resting up so that they can be full strength, and we got a heck of a matchup no matter who comes out of the west side there. But again, west side teams continue to keep winning. Troy takes care of business against Louisiana, and then had an out-of-conference game against Army. They squeaked that one out, but Army is definitely much improved. They came in off of that 9-3 season last year, and then had a really big drop-off to start the year for whatever reason, whether it was not getting their quarterback, how they wanted him to play or make sure he was the guy. I don't really know. I don't follow Army closely enough to know that, but it is interesting that Army's played 3 Sunbelt teams this year. Troy does what they do and continues to play through some frustrating moments and takes that one by only 1 point. But again, even had they lost that wouldn't have hurt them as far as the Sun Belt race is concerned. But good for them to win that one so that they can stay in that conversation of, are they a top 25 team? USA, same thing. South Alabama continues to just get it done. I mean, they keep scoring over 30 points every week, it feels like. So the offense is there, and the defense is doing enough to get it done, holding Texas State last week to 21, and the week before that holding Southern's offense to 31. The top teams continue to impress. They continue to play, get it done on the board. We've had some other little surprises here and there. JMU also, unfortunately for them, can't be a part of the championship game or bowl game, but they continue to also dominate. I threw a crazy prediction out there and said, ODU, blew up the scoreboard somehow against Coastal Carolina. I predicted them to do that same thing against James Madison just because in-state, they really want to show out. That did not happen at all. JMU crushed them in that game 37-3. So, again, we're not covering every game there, but I just wanted to hit on some of the top teams and how they've continued to play. And I will note, too, that ULM has really turned the corner here. For whatever reason, everything's kind of firing on all cylinders. Georgia State had an outside chance to do something and maybe make it harder for Coastal to lock up that East Division, but could not get it done. And then ULM continues to beat people that they're not expected to. So congratulations to them for kind of coming into their own here towards the end of the season. Getting into the Week 12 preview, we open up with a game on ESPN3 Saturday at 12 noon that pits Louisiana going up against Florida State. That is a 24-point favor for the Seminoles at this point. I don't think they're going to take that game by that many points. I think their defense will do well against the Cajuns, but I think the Cajuns are going to keep it closer than 24 points. I think that's a little too high for Florida State. But, hey, we'll see. I'm predicting that score to be 38 Florida State, Cajuns 17. So I do still think Florida State's going to be too strong for the Cajuns. I'd love to be wrong there, but Florida State's been scoring some points. So unless the Cajuns can outscore them, which will be tough to do, that I am going with Florida State in that one. Next up, 2 o'clock kick, ESPN Plus pits James Madison going against Georgia State. They're in Harrisonburg, Virginia. That one favors JMU by only a 9-point spread. This one's one that JMU fans are continuing to not like about me. I am going to pick Georgia State to beat them. Why? I don't know. I'm just throwing out kind of a crazy thing. At this point, JMU's been maybe overproducing, and I think Georgia State's one of those teams, man. You just don't know from week to week. They could put 3 on the board and struggle offensively, or they could put 41 on the board. I don't know how to gauge that team. They take the game to App State in the first quarter in that one, and then look kind of bad the rest of the game, and then they drop to ULM. But they've played other people really well, crushing Southern Miss 42-14. It's just they're all over the board. So I'm just going to take a chance on that one. I'm going to call Georgia State 24, James Madison 21. 2:30 kick, ESPN Plus has ODU traveling to Appalachian State. That is a heavy favorite for App State with a 16-point spread. I don't think that's going to be met. I've not seen enough from App to say that they're going to hammer somebody, but I do think that they should win this game. It's the last home game for the seniors there in Boone. So I'm going to favor App State in this one, 34-24. Following that up, we've got a 3:30 kick on the NFL Network that pits South Alabama against Southern Miss. South Alabama favored in that one by 7.5 points. I got that real close to what the spread is, but I don't have them quite covering that spread fully. I've got USA 28, USM 21. I think the defenses will be pretty good on that. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit lower of a score, honestly. The nasty bunch there defensively. They've done some things this year to surprise me and impress me as well. So let's see what they can do against that high-powered USA offense and see if they can keep it below that spread. Should be a good one to check out on the NFL Network for those of you who have that in your cable or streaming lineup. Also, a 3:30 kick. This one on ESPN Plus has UL Monroe going against Troy. So, again, UL Monroe's really turned a corner here. They're starting to put more points on the board, but Troy's defense continues to be very strong. So, with that being said, I've got this game being surprisingly close. The spread is Troy by 15. Troy struggles to put points on the board here lately. The defense has been really probably the reason they've been winning some of these closer games. But Monroe's defense, not the greatest. I see Troy definitely winning this game, taking this one. I'm predicting this one, Troy 21, ULM 17. So one that could be a little close down there at the end. And did want to note before we go any further, the Coastal Carolina versus Georgia game has been canceled for this week. I'm assuming most people know that. Thoughts go out to that community, and I think it's the smart decision. I'm kind of surprised it took this long this week to actually cancel that one with what they've got going on. More important things than football, but do want to make note of that since that should have been the next game up on the roster. After that, 5 o'clock kick, Arkansas State versus Texas State. Both 3-7 on the year, so this one could be kind of the battle for the basement of the west side over there. I guess ULM technically, if they drop to Troy, could also be involved in that as well. But these two teams look to be towards the bottom for sure, and we'll see what happens. Texas State favored by 6 points, and I'm going to go with them covering that barely. I'm favoring Texas State in this one, 24, Arkansas State 17, and we'll see if Texas State can continue to put some points on the board and take that one as I predict. To round out this week's preview, we've got Marshall versus Georgia Southern, 6 p.m. on ESPN+. This game favoring Marshall by 4.5 points. Currently, I don't know why. I guess maybe lately Marshall's kind of turned the corner, but Georgia Southern just scores too many points for me to think that Marshall could beat them. Again, this is a game down there in Statesboro where they usually play a little bit better than they do on the road. Marshall hasn't played great on the road except for obviously the Notre Dame game early in the year, but they became kind of a different team after that. So I'm favoring Southern in this one, so I'm definitely going way against the spread here. I've got Georgia Southern 27, Marshall 17. That pretty much concludes this week. I will also be traveling to the Marshall versus Elon soccer game tonight to check that out. First round matchup. Hopefully Marshall can take that one and continue some Sun Belt prominence in the soccer tournament. Thanks for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment on all our socials. We've got a TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and a Facebook page. So find us anywhere there and keep up with everything we've got going on. Hopefully some more video coverage to come. And again, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.